I had no interest in What If. I don't especially care for the comics, the animation didn't look good, and I've already been burned by just about everything in this phase of the MCU, so I thought I'd just skip this show. Then my partner in crime Connor Nielsen told me the zombie episode was the worst episode in a series of bad episodes. I took that as a challenge. Certainly it can't be that bad, it kinda is, but if it is that bad, maybe I can make a video out of it. So here I am. I've got 3 big things I would change about this episode. This episode confused me. I assume this dimension is identical to the MCU up until a certain point, right? In this universe, when Hank went to the quantum realm to rescue his wife, as he did in the movie Ant-Man and the Wasp, she had become a zombie. She infected Hank, and pretty quickly this spread and left most of the planet zombified. But hold on a second. The only reason Hank went into the quantum realm was because Janet sent him a message through Scott. If she's a zombie, did she still send a message? How did that go? Okay, that sounded perfectly normal. Let's resume this rescue attempt. Most of the time, zombies are lumbering beasts. They eat and they walk and that's it. But in this series, I question how smart the zombies are. Hawkeye is able to use a bow, which takes effort and precision. No mindless beast would be able to fire one of these. Happy keeps saying blam like he was doing when he was firing the repulsor gun. Wanda is able to use her powers, which I assume requires some brain capacity. Hey, wait a second. The zombies don't like the Mind Stone. It keeps them at bay. Wanda got her powers from the Mind Stone. Shouldn't she be immune to the virus? And hang on a second, if the virus starts spreading between Ant-Man and the Wasp and Infinity War, what are Cap and Iron Man doing hanging out? Did they kiss and make up earlier in this timeline than they did in the main MCU? I guess this is a pretty apocalyptic scenario, so that would warrant them putting aside their differences, but I'm starting to question whether this reality is identical to the main MCU up until a point, or if the Civil War even happened in this reality. And if this reality is identical to the MCU prior to the zombie outbreak, how did zombie Thanos get all these gems in the gauntlet? Did zombie Thanos leave Earth, go to Vormir, and sacrifice somebody or something and then pick up the Soul Stone? Are you saying after this whole episode was about hope, zombie Thanos is going to take the Mind Stone from our heroes and kill them? Whatever. In the Marvel Zombies comics, the zombies are sentient. They speak, they're fully aware of what they're doing, but they're so dang hungry they can't help it. I don't mind the idea of smart zombies. I'm not aware of a movie that actually does it. Maybe Slither? Does that count? But if you're doing a zombie story with an extra layer, say superheroes, adding another extra layer that they're smart is too much. Focus on that one extra layer. In Cold Blood but with aliens is fine, but In Cold Blood but with aliens and also a treatise on the pros and cons of post-American Civil War Reconstruction era is not. It's like wearing 2 hats at once. You look like a doof. So don't do smart zombies. You can have the virus originate from the quantum realm. That's fine. Hank brings Janet back to Earth, everything seems fine, then people start getting infected. Bill Foster, Scott, one of these wombats, it starts to spread. If you want the zombies to be more threatening than your average zombies, since our protagonists have superhuman abilities, we don't want it to be too easy for them to persevere. Say when one of the zombies bit Steve, him being genetically enhanced, this spread to the others, or at least to the ones he infected. These zombies are stronger, faster, etc. That's the first thing I'd change. Delivery mechanism of the virus is altered, and the zombies themselves are more like regular zombies in terms of intellect. Second, the cast of characters. Since I'm still operating under the assumption this world is identical to the MCU until the zombie outbreak, I found myself questioning why and how of certain characters being where they are in this episode. Okoye came to America looking for T'Challa, and she brought Bucky with her. Okay, fine. Polka Dot Man. At first you might be tempted to say since the outbreak began during the climax of Ant-Man and the Wasp, that he was close by and he and Wasp hooked up after the infection began to spread. But I don't think these two had ever met before, and while Hank, Scott, and Hope were focused on rescuing Janet, these guys were focused on their big security client. These plots barely intersected, and I can't believe Hope would swing by and rescue this guy she doesn't know after watching her father and lover but we're taking a break just die. Sharon Carter, shouldn't she be a fugitive in Madripoor around this time? So I'd shake things up a little. Cap and Tony have not patched things up. One of them was about to call the other for backup, area, but was cut off. After the infection began to spread circa Ant-Man and the Wasp, Hank sends out a distress beacon. This attracts the attention of Steve and the Secret Avengers. They go down, Steve's super soldieriness makes things worse. Vision doesn't get infected and retreats to find a cure. Maybe he tries to go to Wakanda, since they still have their shields protecting them, and Shuri could probably figure out a cure, but they don't let him in, since the virus is airborne as well as being transmitted through bite. Even though Vision isn't infected, he could still spread it if they let him in. By now, the rest of the world is starting to prepare themselves. Tony is one of the smartest people in the MCU, especially with Bruce Banner off-world while this is going down, but he's more of a mechanical engineering guy. I don't know if he would be much help when it comes to curing a plague, but he does not get infected. He's one of the first zombies we see, but I'm confused as heck as how this happened. He was in full armor when regular zombie civilians attacked him. How did they bite him? So since he can't help Vision or Shuri with their attempts at the cure, he's fighting on the front lines, shuttling supplies to hospitals, that kind of thing. When Banner arrives on Earth, Thanos and Ebony Maw prepare to attack, then some zombies get them. Banner can't Hulk out, then he's rescued by our core group. Spidey, Vision, War Machine, and Hope Van Dyne, as well as some others. This would be a really cool time to see some of the villains of this universe work with the heroes. It's their world too, they don't want to see it swallowed up by this plague, so they team up with what's left of the heroes to try to stop this. We have Abomination, Zemo, Ghost, and Vulture, pretty much the only villains still alive at this point in the MCU timeline. Somehow, Banner helps Vision figure out the key to halting the spread of the virus, even if they're not able to revert those who have already been zombified. They know they need such and such a material to make it work, and they'll need to get to Tony so he can broadcast the information to the survivor camps worldwide, and along the way, they encounter various zombie obstacles where a few characters get taken out as you go. You wouldn't have a trained soldier throw an infected zombie behind him toward the other people on the train, which results in someone getting swallowed and later infected, because, you know, I'm not a soldier, but that doesn't seem strategically sound to me. The episode ends with a glimmer of hope, even though things still look pretty depressing. And hey, that'd be the third thing that I would change. Enough with the jokes! I get it, the MCU is known for its humor, and quite often I'm on board. Not always, but most of the time. But when most of Earth's population has become walking necrotized disease carriers, now might not be the best time for jokes. This episode is 33 minutes long, and it has about 33,000 jokes or witty one-liners. The whole theme of the episode is you gotta keep hope alive. Not literally, but figuratively. You gotta keep it alive. But you can do that without every character making light of the situation. Spider-Man making a hilarious How to Survive the Zombie Apocalypse video, which anyone who's going to be watching that will have already survived. Polka Dot Man makes another reference to the Baba Yaga. Happy cracking wise about being an Uber driver. Okoye jokes about American reality television. I should be sad, but I'm not. None of these were funny. I guess people process grief in different ways, and I could buy that if one person was making jokes and trying to distract themselves from what's going on, but when all of them are doing it, it just makes these guys look like sociopaths who don't care that their friends and family are dead. The MCU is known for the jokes, but maybe take this one episode to do something different. Show just how grim our normally plucky heroes would be in the face of a literal apocalypse. It can get pretty depressing, and that won't carry over to the rest of your universe since this is a done-in-one. It's not the end of the world that this episode blew chunks, since, as I said seconds ago, it's not going to spill over into the rest of your shared universe, but still, how in the round world do you mess up zombie movie but with superheroes as the survivors? This could have written itself in its sleep, and I think we would have gotten a better episode. That's all I have. I hope you guys liked this one, and if you did, I'll be back in the future to talk about something else. Until then, have a great day.